I joined this program because I had had a fairly lengthy career as an individual contributor working for somebody else's recruiting firm, and always did well, and ultimately got to a place in my career where I felt like I was prepared to open up my own firm, to run my own shop. And my first year was good, and it was productive, and I realized that there was a knowledge gap between where I was and where I wanted to be. At the end of my first year in business as an individual recruitment agency owner, I really wanted to get to that next level. And I knew that I didn't have any kind of a roadmap to get me there. I worked at a lot of recruiting firms. I knew a lot of people who owned recruiting firms, but I didn't really have an understanding of how they got from being an individual recruiter to running a successful business. And I actually happen to be connected to one of Mark and Leanne's uh, cohort on LinkedIn. And I reached out to her and I said, "Hey, do you know anyone who does this kind of work?" Right. Because I trusted her. And that was where I was introduced to Mark Whitby. Had a great conversation with Mark, and immediately I knew, like, this is the person, this is the organization that I've been looking for to get me on that path to where I want to go. The pain points that really showed up for me often in that first year before I joined Mark and Leanne's group was scaling, right? Because everything was manual, right? All the phone calls, all the email, one phone call at a time, one email at a time. And the other things that were missing from that first year was a lot of the operational support just wasn't in place. I didn't have really a good understanding of marketing strategy. My tech stack was very, very minimal. And I just knew that more professional firms had answers to these questions. And I didn't even, it was a big question of, like, I don't even know what I don't know. Having been with the program for about a year, maybe slightly longer, there are a couple really notable successes that stand out for me. Learning that my voice and my perspective on both recruiting and the industry I serve is really essential to my success. And that if people aren't hearing from me regularly and hearing my point of view on this industry and how it works, I'm not going to attain the level of success that I want to attain as a recruiter. And Mark and Leanne and Julie, through their work, really helped me to realize that. They helped me leverage my LinkedIn network to start messaging myself more consistently. They also encouraged me to take a point of view, to deliver value to my network in a way that went simply beyond, like, "Hey, I have jobs for you." So we worked really hard to put together a beautiful, comprehensive salary survey as a lead magnet, and a marketing tool, and it just got so much positive feedback, and job orders came on the back of that. And then the other really notable success story that I can point to, that I love to point to, is prior to working with the group, I'd always been a contingent recruiter. And even though I worked on what I would consider an exclusive contingent arrangement where I was the only agency that was engaged on a search, I was still competing against internal parties, right? Internal talent acquisition. And sometimes those engagements, for no one's fault, just didn't come to a conclusion, right? The position got put on hold, budget was pulled, market conditions changed. "Hey, Jeff, thanks so much. We appreciate your help. We'll call you again if we need you." And that had happened to me one too many times, where I really felt pretty burned. Like, I had put in a lot of good quality, hard work over the course of weeks, and through no fault of my own, I was just told, "Hey, we're not going to make this hire." That really, was a turning point for me, because that's when Mark and Leanne and Julie were really able to guide me to uh, the understanding that I could work as a retained recruiter. and that I could win retainers, and that people were willing to pay retainers, and that I could execute on a retained search at a high level, as good a level of recruitment service as I had ever previously done as a contingent recruiter, but more so as a retained recruiter. And that really happened for me in a meaningful way at the beginning of 2024, where I won my first true retained search. And it was just it was a mindset shift for me, really, and it was significant, and it's made uh huge benefits to my business. All right. So for a recruitment business owner who has a packed schedule, right? They're trying to maintain their business operations, their personal relationships, their family commitments, their commitments to their own health and wellness. In my experience, or at least what's shown up for me, is an understanding that there's a lot more time free in my schedule than I maybe initially thought there was. Right, there are lots of activities that I participate in on a daily basis that take up a lot of my time and don't really contribute towards my overall goals. Where is there actual, space to be made for this type of work? And then the second thing I would say to that recruiting business owner is you're going to win time back, right? Working with this group of professionals, working with Mark and Julie and Leanne, is going to allow you to run your business at such a greater level of efficiency. You might say like, "Oh, I don't have time for this because I work 12 hours a day every day." Well, once you start to get involved with this program, the efficiency gains that you pick up are going to give you back 4, 5, 6 hours out of your time. And I came from the same place. I was like, how am I going to fit this in? Right. And, it really came together in a way that worked exceptionally well. So I was very happy with it. I mean, I look really closely at my business spend. I'm not I'm not throwing big wads of cash around everywhere. But the ROI on this particular group and this particular experience is so substantial that it's a no-brainer for me. And I probably shouldn't say anything, but honestly, like I think I'm the one who's getting the better deal. I really do. I think I am getting such significant value over what I pay for this experience, that it's a pleasure, to see that charge hit my credit card every month, because I know it contributes to my success. It's bolstering up my success. Look, I mean, is there a point in time in some future where I'll be like, I've learned everything I have to learn? I mean, I doubt it, maybe, but for right now, for me, that day is still so far in the future that I'm happy to continue to make the investment, not just in what I learn, because I learn a great deal, but a significant part of what I receive for the money I spend is the support of a community who understands what my challenges are, right? It's lonely to kind of be out on an island as a solopreneur, as an independent business owner, and have all of these decisions on your shoulders and have nowhere to turn for support. And even sometimes just getting, confirmation from your peers that, oh yeah, we experienced the same thing. You're doing great. Keep going. Think about this. Think about that. Final thoughts on this whole process is just I'm consistently blown away with how forward thinking this program is. The effort that Mark and Julie and Leanne put into making sure that they're delivering really the cutting edge best practices of what's happening in our industry. Like their coursework, their learnings, their teachings are really at the forefront of what's happening today in executive search and staffing. And I really appreciate that because you know, I've seen other coaches who are kind of working from the same playbook that they were in 1999, and it's an outdated methodology, and I've never felt that working with this group of people. I've always felt that these people were at the very, very bleeding edge of what is happening in our industry, and that's an important thing for me.